Were you going to say something, Prabhu?
Yes, I'm very honored to be here. I was here at the meeting there the other day. I was able to join the Zoom meeting once before. So, my brother, that's Alexander Alex.
Yes.
I'm his brother. Yes. So, I frequently in contact with Alexander, and recently he's encouraged me again to take up Vaishnavism, chanting, and because I was very involved with ISKCON there a number of years ago, and but I became a bit for my own reasons. I became sidetracked, and I was looking after my mother. You see, she was quite ill, but I wasn't chanting. But what I did do was I had in my own mind I had relate my activities looking after my mother to my duty, referring it to duty in the Bhagavad Gita when Krishna mentions that it is a valid way of devotional service to perform one's duty, according to the Vedas, as far as I know, was the source material for that. But he did say it in the Bhagavad Gita, so I was able to maintain a continuous in the background Krishna conscious activity in my mind, so it was good
Very
from
nice.
that point of view. Yes,
Definitely if we're remembering Krishna in our day-to-day activities, then that is transcendental. Then we're cultivating Krishna consciousness still. It's very nice.
Yes.
So today we're going to read Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the scriptures. And we only read for about 15 minutes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning here in New Jersey, at least. And so we'll go ahead with that. And Prabhu, at the end of the reading, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to raise them.
Yes, thank you very much.
Jai.
Yeah.
Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravrajacharya Sri Srila Bhakti Niskam Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Here, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, the Status Quo, and we're just beginning chapter 13, the appearance of Lord Varāha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate.
Text 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha Nisamya Vacham Vadato Mune Punyatamam Nirpa Bhuya Papracha Koravyo Vasudeva Katadrita. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, O king, after hearing all these most virtuous topics from the sage Maitreya, Vidura inquired further on the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which he adored to hear. Purport. The word adrita is significant because it indicates that Vidura had a natural inclination for hearing the transcendental message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was never fully satisfied through continuing to hear those topics. He wanted to hear more and more so that he could be more and more blessed by the transcendental message. Text 2. Vidura uvacha savayasvayambhuva samrat priya putra svayambhuva pratilabhya priyam patnim kimchakara tato mune. Vidura said, O great sage, what did Svayambhuva, the dear son of Brahma, do after obtaining his very loving wife? Text 3. Charitam tasya rajasver adi rajasya satama bruhi me shradhadhanaya vishvakshe nashrayo hyaso. The best of the virtuous, the original king of Manus, was a great devotee of the personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, and thus it is worth hearing of his sublime character and activities. Please describe them. I am very eager to hear. Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of transcendental topics of the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees. In the absolute world, there is no difference in quality between the Supreme Lord and his pure devotee. Therefore, hearing the topics of the Lord and hearing of the character and activities of the pure devotee have the same result, namely the development of devotional service. Text 4. Shrutasya pumsam suchira shramasya nanvanjasa suribir iditurta tad gunanu shravana mukunda adharvindam hridayeshu yesham. Persons who hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time must hear from the mouths of pure devotees about the character and activities of pure devotees. Pure devotees always think within their hearts of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, who awards his devotees liberation. Purport. Transcendental students are those who undergo great penance in being trained by hearing the Vedas from a bona fide spiritual master. Not only must they hear about the activities of the Lord, but they must also hear about the transcendental qualities of the devotees, who are constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. A pure devotee of the Lord cannot be separated from the lotus feet of the Lord for even a moment. Undoubtedly, the Lord is always within the hearts of all living creatures, but they hardly know about it because they are deluded by the illusory material energy. The devotees, however, realize the presence of the Lord, and therefore they can always see the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. Such pure devotees of the Lord are as glorious as the Lord. They are, in fact, recommended by the Lord as more worshipable than he himself. Worship of the devotee is more potent than worship of the Lord. It is therefore the duty of the transcendental students to hear of pure devotees, as explained by similar devotees of the Lord, because one cannot explain about the Lord or his devotee unless one happens to be a pure devotee himself. Text 5. Sri Shuka Uvacha Iti Bhuvanam Vidaram Vinitam Sahasra Shirshnas Charano Padhanam Prahistaroma Bhagavat Katayam Praniyamhano Munir Abhyachasta. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, was pleased to place his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura, because Vidura was very meek and gentle. The sage Maitreya was very pleased with Vidura's words, and being influenced by his spirit, he attempted to speak. Purport. The word Sahasra Shirshna is very significant. One who has diverse energies and activities and wonderful brain is known as Sahasra Shirshna. This qualification is applicable only to the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and no one else. The personality of Godhead was pleased to dine sometimes with Vidura at his home, and while resting, he placed his lotus feet on the lap of Vidura. Maitreya was inspired by the thought of Vidura's wonderful fortune. The hairs of his body stood on end, and he was pleased to narrate the topics of the personality of Godhead with great delight. Text 6. Maitreya Uvacha Yadasva Bharyaya Sardham Jatasvayam Bhuvo Manu Anjali Pranatas Veda Garbam Abhashata. The sage Maitreya said to Vidura, after his appearance, Manu, the father of humankind, along with his wife, thus addressed the reservoir of Vedic wisdom, Brahma, with obeisances and folded hands. Text 7. Tvameka sarva bhutanam janma kridvrittidhapita tatapina prajanamte sushrusha kena vabhavit. You are the father of all living entities and the source of their subsistence, because they are all born of you. Please order us how we may be able to render service unto you. Purport. A son's duty is not only to make the father the source of supply for all his needs, but also, when he is grown up, to render service unto him. That is the law of creation beginning from the time of Brahma. A father's duty is to bring up the son until he is grown, and when the son is grown up, it is his duty to render service unto the father. Text 8. Tadvidehi namastubhyam karmas vidyatma saktishu yatkrit veha yaso vishvag amutra chaba vedgati. O worshipful one, please give us your direction for the execution of duty within our working capacity, so that we can follow it for fame in this life and progress in the next. Brahma. Purport. Brahma is the direct recipient of Vedic knowledge from the personality of Godhead, and anyone discharging his entrusted duties in disciplic succession from Brahma is sure to gain fame in this life and salvation in the next. The disciplic succession from Brahma is called Brahma Sampradaya, and it descends as follows: Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhva Muni, Purna Pragya, Padmanabha, Nrahari, Madhava, Rakshobhya, Jayatirtha, Janasindhu, Dayanidhi, Vidyanidhi, Rajendra, Jayadharma, Purushottama, Brahmanyatirtha, Vyasatirtha, Lakshmipati, Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Swarup Damodar, and Sri Rupa Goswami, and others. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gorkishore Das Babaji, Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. This line of disciplic succession from Brahma is spiritual, whereas the genealogical succession from Manu is material. But both are on the progressive march towards the same goal of Krishna consciousness. Text 9. Brahma uvacha pritastubhyam aham tata svasti stadvam chitisvara yan nirvyali kena hrida sadhi mityatman harpitam. Lord Brahma said, "My dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you, and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have without reservation surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions." Purport. The relationship between the father and son is always sublime. The father is naturally disposed with goodwill towards the son, and he is always ready to help the son in his progress in life. But in spite of the father's goodwill, the son is sometimes misguided because of his misuse of personal independence. Every living entity, however small or big he may be, has the choice of independence. If the son is unreservedly willing to be guided by the father is 10 times more eager to instruct and guide him by all means. The father and son relationship, as exhibited here in the dealings of Brahma and Manu, is excellent. Both the father and the son are well qualified, and their example should be followed by all humankind. Manu, the son, unreservedly asked the father, Brahma, to instruct him, and the father, who was full of Vedic wisdom, was very glad to instruct. The example of the father of mankind may be rigidly followed by mankind, and that will advance the cause of the relationship of fathers and sons. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 10 on Monday. So Prabhu, before we close, did you have any questions or comments? It's okay if you don't. We can just close. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Purna. Oh,
a very good one called Affectionate Guidance, which I believe is a good one. So I'm enjoying that too. That's very interesting, like, you know. I'm an avid reader. I've read the Bhagavad Gita and I constantly refer to it. And I've read the Ramayana. I've read a lot of Srila Prabhupada's books. I've even written, Prabhupada Lilamrita by Sasvarup Das Goswami. I've read back in the day. Then I read practically 3/4 of that book, and but I couldn't finish it and never did finish it. It was a fantastic, from the point of view of observation, it was a fantastic commentary on Srila Prabhupada and the early devotees. Like, it was a fantastic book. I remember that I thoroughly was immersed in that book. I don't know about the character now involved who wrote the book now, whether there was anything wrong with that, but I swear that book was just phenomenal. It's explained all Prabhupada's early days when he was setting up ISKCON and the chaps who first came along to the place in Matchless Skits, you know, the storefront there. So it was fascinating book that was. I don't know why that came into my mind, but that was one of the heavier reads that I did get through, and that was very good book, like, you know.
The main
So that's my comment. I won't say anymore now.
The main takeaway that we can get from any of these books is not so much just learning about some history, although it's very nice to hear about the history of the devotees, but the main thing is to become inspired to take up the practice of serving the devotees ourselves.
Yes.
So that's why reading those histories, that it's nice when we can see the examples of the devotees serving their guru. This way we can become inspired to do that ourselves. So that's the main thing, is how we can come to the platform of actually surrendering to the bona fide guru, and then rendering humble, loving service to Guru, to Sri Guru. And that's the only way that we can actually properly develop Krishna consciousness, and the only way that we can properly serve Radha and Krishna. We can't serve them directly, but we can only serve them through their servants. So that's the idea.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. Really appreciate your words. They're very good. Yes.
Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Shripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham, Nishangapali Dham, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju Ki Jai. Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai. Shama Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagi Ki Jai. Jai Scientific Sankirtan Yagi Ki Jai. Jai Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bol. Jai Prabhu. My Dandavat Pranam to you, and our glories to Mia Sindhu Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.